Nigeria, thank you. So why is the president of the Senate crying? Who is he crying to? It's just like the president lamenting on Twitter that his intelligence agencies failed him. So if they failed him, am I the one who will not fail him more? I'm not trained in intelligence gathering. There are people trained, being paid. But what exactly is the problem? Service chiefs have been changed again and again, yet prisons have been routinely attacked with the same reasons. No CCTV cameras. The perimeter walls are just single perimeter walls, no double perimeter walls. They are not, look at that Kuje prison wall. Just very simple. A small dynamite. I mean, even rookie chemistry students or physics students will just blow it up. Look at how easy it was for these chaps to get into the correctional facility. You call it a correctional facility, but you put dangerous suspects together with people arrested maybe for arrested for small offenses. Now these people arrested for light offenses come out more dangerous to the society instead of being rehabilitated.
All right. Yinka, but you see, Murphy's Law, you are familiar with it.
Yeah.
Anything that can go wrong will definitely go wrong. So, but Emeka talked about the #1 citizen being scandalized by the breakdown of security, intelligence, and blah, blah, blah. We've been there before, Yinka. And here it's like a recurring decimal, a record that's repeating grooves. We must do something, don't you think?
I'm not a prophet.
By the way, I heard the president is in a closed-door meeting with security chiefs as we speak.
Not today, as they say on the street, not today.
If you ask me now, who I go ask?
When things happen like this, it is always a reaction rather than being proactive. Now, you are holding meeting with security chiefs. After now, nothing will happen. The commandant, is it controller or commandant yes, of the correctional facility is still very much on his seat. Nothing has happened to him. Those who are supposed to be on duty at that moment, nothing has happened. We have not heard from them. Newspapers, radio, and everything have been reporting that some few hours to the attack, soldiers and security operatives that were supposed to be guarding the place were withdrawn. Who ordered the withdrawal? Nobody has told us anything.
But, I heard the news. I'm wondering if it is true.
Exactly. But whether it is true or not, up till this moment, more than 24 hours after, nobody has come out to say, no, that is not the case. We are still waiting. When things like this happen, it shows us the underbelly and of the unfortunate situation in which we are in. And these things are not, they are not mistakes. They are not happenstance. They are orchestrated. Was it not the same
because the rescue, but I'm sorry, yes. Yinka, the rescue must have been carefully planned and executed.
Exactly. And the aide to Gumi even told the media that they got the intelligence, they told the security agencies, and nothing was done.
Nothing.
So what is now? What I expected by now is that you will call in the Gumi aide or Gumi himself, or visit them and say, okay, who did you give this information to?
The aide says he's a haunted man.
So, who did you give the information to? What did the person say? Please let me know who. Because you see, when things happen like this, you begin to take a fine comb tooth to probe and find out what has happened. But in our own situation, it happens. It gives us some topic to talk for the next 24 hours or 48 hours. Another thing happens.
We are kept busy.
Another thing happens. We forget about that. We come to this. Now, some years back, billions of dollars were allegedly earmarked for CCTV in Abuja to cover the whole of Abuja city.
And
what
Lagos.
has happened to it?
And Lagos.
Oh, so what has happened? it is surprising that it is when things happen like this, the minister, those concerned will come on air and tell us they never knew there is no CCTV. If a government,
as you speak, look at the footage from...
Exactly, look at this.
Yeah.
If government facilities don't have CCTV, what moral right have the government, Ondo State now says all churches and public places must have CCTV? If a government facility which is keeping criminals don't have CCTV, what right have you to tell me that the church I attend must have a CCTV? Although for the protection of the...
Inca,
you as a government can spend...
You are getting agitated. It's
no,
okay.
Because every day when we talk like this, things get... It gets one...
It's all right.
Nagging and...
Emeka, the late American German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck said, never believe anything in politics until it is officially dismissed.
Well, if it is officially dismissed, doesn't mean it didn't happen. If the dismissal says it never happened, I mean, and the evidence is clear for everyone to see, doesn't mean it didn't happen. There's even something strange that Nigerians are not looking at. Government today released the names of, I think, about 72.
I saw pictures.
Inmates that are said to have escaped. But remember, Mr. Femi Falana SAN wrote the AGF to say that, ask him, where are the 400 Boko Haram terror suspects you said were being prepared for trial? Where are they being kept? You're not telling us 72 or 69 escaped. So who exactly is taking us for a ride in all of this? You're not implementing resolutions of the National Assembly. You're not implementing directives of the President and Commander-in-Chief. You're not implementing the Correctional Centers Act 2019. And then you're telling us no CCTV cameras. Is it not actually supposed to be a routine thing that government establishments must be covered by CCTV cameras? It should be a routine. I mean, it's not even something that will come from any directive. It should be a routine. So who actually prepares the security? I believe it should be the Office of National Security Advisor preparing security routines for government departments, government agencies, MDAs. But where you find out that even where these cameras exist, where the CCTV cameras exist, they are not working.
All right, Emeka, let's pause. Charles is reaching us from Lagos here. Charles, good evening. Welcome.
Mr. Jones and the gentleman there.
Yeah.
Yes, what I want to say is that we are told that these people Boko Haram have been in that for over a couple of years now. Does it mean they've not been able to extract information that would have helped them to fight these people? Then, in other claims, by now, the Minister of Interior, the head of the army, the prison, all of them would have resigned. We'll find ourselves in a situation whereby we have a president who does not sack people. There's no habit of sacking or changing people. Because when you let out when the infractions are committed,
Charles, you are not 1/10 as agitated as we are here. We share your sentiment. Inca, resign. People hardly resigned here. In living memory, the only man I remember who resigned was the first Inspector General under Shehu Shagari, Adamu Suleiman.
You know, yeah, it is when you fail in your duty that you give excuses. Nobody will ever think that this thing happened under my watch and I should go. I gave an example here some time ago. A few years down the line, a train crashed in Spain. The Minister of Transport resigned. He was not the station master. He was not the train driver. He was not the signal. But as an honorable man, he resigned. That this happened under his watch.
Are you suggesting there aren't men and women of honor in this country?
I want to say that
the facts speak for themselves. Rest
It goes without saying. Because honor does not only lie in taking
or speaking the truth.
Or speaking the truth, but in taking that responsibility look, whatever happened, although I may not be directly responsible, but because it happened under my watch, I step aside.
Yeah.
But we see this, it happens every
the
time.
British Prime Minister has
day.
just thrown in the towel, not because he wanted to.
Exactly. I mean, he tried to see whether he could maneuver and wriggle it, but it never happened. But it will never happen in our own system here. Why? And people, in fact, when things like this happen, rather than the people directly concerned or involved coming on TV, maybe they should just keep quiet and allow
let it be.
The wind to blow and say that, well, they will forget. Because the moment I sit down in the front of the TV and I see you and you come to the TV, you are lying, facing the nation and telling us lies and giving excuses. I would not be surprised if you check the budget that CCTV camera has been bought for that facility.
Again and again.
Thank you.
And
they will even be collecting money for maintenance of what is not there. And yet, the Comptroller General is still sitting pretty. The minister, all of them are still sitting pretty and talking about what we are waiting for now is what next?
Emeka, now suspected terrorists have been turned loose.
Yes.
And anything is possible.
Isn't it possible? I mean, that's as bad as that. Everybody is on edge. Nobody knows what these guys will go, could be up to. Nobody knows where they could go to. And you see, what really pains me is, the fact that people in government, people who are responsible for ensuring that these things don't happen, don't even consider the risks to the members of the armed forces, the DSS, the police, the gallant officers we have who conduct painstaking investigations. Do you know the Ali Nuhu who bombed the UN building?
Yeah.
It took 5 years for the security services to track him and get him arrested. 5 good years. You can imagine these guys must have lost so much sleep, done a lot of work, tracking, risky, got involved in a lot of risky work and eventually got this guy.
Yeah.
And other suspects,
those guys are in the wild.
and other suspects now disappeared. I want to ask a question. When the other day the governor of Akwa Ibom State was saying that they recovered weapons from some people and the police set them free, I want to ask, is there a standing rule in the security services to play, with security issues so lightly? I mean, I am not a member of the security establishment, but I appear to be more conscious of security issues than people in the top echelon of the security architecture.
Inka, please, this is another fallout, that 2 police officers are arrested for complicity. So let's look at the 5th columnist element here.
Citizen Jones, it is not only today that this has been happening. And it is not only in Nigeria that it happens. It happens everywhere in the world. But when such things happen, those 5th columnists who are caught are openly dealt with to discourage others from doing so. But in our own situation, when you catch them, they put them in the cell for some days. After some weeks,
They turn loose.
And Wadume,
I hear he's...
nobody can say where he is now.
Okay then.
So what do you...
Sorry, Olushola Julius is reaching us from Ibadan. Shola, I greet you. Good evening. Welcome.
Good evening, sir. Uncle Emeka, good evening, sir. Uncle Olayinka. Now, there is a Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And another time to plant again is from our previous administration, but they have failed. But we can still come back and put all our hands on deck and fight this issue frontally than being political about it. I would appreciate it if Mr. President, just with the way Mr. Lanyika said, that now today he has been going to security meeting every time. But if he's going seriously with his men now, and they are coming out with a very strong and powerful resolution on how to nip this insecurity, especially these terrorists, on board, so that they will be able, to my own spirit, I believe they are not powerful than the state. The state can still overwhelm them and conquer them. So we can do something
better.
You,
thank you.
You know, let me add this. It's not that we are faulting the security agencies. No. I salute the courage of some or many of them who are gallant, who are doing their job patriotically and well.
But they are being hindered.
Exactly. And you see, the problem here is that when you are doing your job patriotically, and some, no matter how small the clique is, and they are hampering the results, it pours cold water into your spirit
and also puts you in danger. They are in danger now.
That young colonel who was killed in Borno State, what has happened now? Nothing has happened. And there are many others who are close to him who know how committed he was to his duty. And now that the man is gone, you just look at it. After what else? Emeka, so it brings a lot of problems.
Emeka, it's not out of place to set an agenda, for Mr. Chiefs. You expect some changes to come, don't you?
Well, we have said this over and over again, and he will tell us, okay, you asked me to sack the service chiefs. I sacked them the first time. I sacked another set. So what else do you want me to do? What do you see? Like one of my former bosses used to say, we should not lament our challenges, but rather we should redouble our efforts. Now, if the NSA, National Security Advisor, is incapable of occupying that position or ensuring that these criminals are routed, well, the president knows what to do. If the current set of service chiefs need to be changed again, why not? But we should not continue to leave this nation at the mercy of criminals.
Because the outside world is watching us.
It's not just about the outside world watching us. The safety and well-being of the people is a constitutional imperative. Is there in the constitution that government shall exist for the safety and well-being of the people? Citizens. So when government is not carrying out this, when this is not being done, government is actually breaching the constitution. It should be noted that the president, whatever he decides to do, he should take note of the constitutional provision, that constitutional provision is being breached. The 400 Boko Haram terror suspects that were said to have been arrested, the Attorney General of the Federation said were arrested and were to be prosecuted, he has to come out clean and tell Nigerians where they are. We cannot continue like this.
All right. Yinka, I'm sure you are familiar with the French proverb, the more things change, the more they remain the same. I want to believe that for once, we'll bear the cut. For once. Because enough is already too much. All right, we'll go on. Yeah, we'll go on a break and return. Please don't go away.
It was a bright sunny day in Agbala community. The community popular Jingo has just heard a rumor, and he has come to spread it to everyone. "You won't believe what I just heard," he said. "That incident last month was not a robbery. It was carefully planned by the neighboring community." It didn't take a lot for the people of Agbala to believe that the people of the neighboring community masterminded the attack, and off they were to war. However, only one person thought to call a friend in the community to check the information. By the time they realized the truth, nobody really remembered who brought the rumor. Fact check to be sure of the source of the information and its authenticity before spreading it or taking action. Fake news is dangerous.
This message is brought to you from the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
All right, then to our next story. You know, according to the late Madiba, Nelson Mandela, quote, only armchair politicians are immune from committing mistakes. Errors are inherent in political action, end quote. Now, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Delta State appears to be in a quagmire as we speak regarding its flag bearer for the 2023 governorship election. The Federal High Court in Abuja, presided over by Justice Taiwo, has ordered the removal of the newly elected Delta PDP candidate for next year's governorship race. And he is Sheriff Oborevori. I hope I got that right. Now, the trouble is over a certificate forgery. Oborevori, it is alleged, has submitted credentials, including age declarations, affidavit, and academic certificates bearing different unreconciled names at different times. You get the impression that politicians are the easiest of all human beings to corrupt, Yinka.
Well, we laugh over this, but it's a very, very serious matter. And as people always say, if you want to hear the true story of your birth, dabble into politics. But
they say if you want your DNA without paying a kobo, just say you want to be a counselor.
So now, how I followed that story. This guy has almost 4 or 5 different names.
Yeah,
there's no crime in that. In Africa, especially if you are a firstborn, you might have up to 20 names. And out of those 20, you may end up using only 2 or 3. However, there are some things that will be consistent. The schools you attend, your classmates, your friends, and all that. So now, if the party, at the party level, they are not able to detect that, and they went ahead to submit it to INEC, What do you say of our system?
Inka, I give you a counter question.
Yes.
This gentleman we're talking about is the Speaker of the State House.
Yes.
So these questions should have been asked the first time.
Exactly. That is where we are going. And where exactly is the function of the security agencies? Because when things happen like this, there is no one today, even if you want to be a counselor. The SSS or whatever name it goes, the security agencies will go through your files, whether you have a person of concern or whatever, and all that. Go to your school, find out 1 or 2 things about you before you are given the plain bill. He was elected, and he is the Speaker. I want to believe that he is not a first-timer in the House of Assembly, so he can't be a Speaker. So how did it come there? I mean, you see, the moment every day when you hear things like this, you begin to ask yourself, are we really serious in this country? And you begin to see why we are going in the direction where we are going. You want to go to Ibadan, but you are facing Badagry. So how do you get there?
I'm tempted to believe that anything is possible in politics. Emeka, for instance...
The Nigerian politics especially.
Nigerian politics. Napoleon Bonaparte said, in politics, never retreat, never retract, never admit a mistake.
Oh.
Yeah, well, but how morally upright will such a society be?
But when you say politicians here are Machiavellian, what does it tell you?
Yeah, but if it is that
means.
trait that the end justifies the means that has put our country, Nigeria, where it is.
Yeah.
So there should be some there should be a large dose of introspection about the effects of these things, of things like this, on the larger society. And then, what is INEC really doing about all these things? Because it's like the courts have actually become more detailed than INEC in scrutinizing things like this. It's like the courts have become, they have sort of taken over some roles of INEC. So it's as if INEC will just hold press conferences and make very grandiose claims.
I wonder if it is proper to carpet or cap the INEC at a time like this, because politicians mess up the situation, the table, and then INEC takes the rap.
Now, why is INEC, Independent National Electoral Commission, why is it independent? INEC is supposed to ensure that it can read, it's just like a code, it can read the situation. And this is not the first time such a thing has come up. Remember, in Bayelsa State, the deputy governor-elect, David Leon, was this not the same thing that kicked both of them out, that avoided their ticket, just 24 hours to their swearing?
Yeah.
You see, we pretend to be forgetful in this country, but we are not. I read history, so I'm interested in, sometimes I go back to things that happened in the past to dig them out, because, you see, to let people know that we have not forgotten. So we must draw parallels with what things have happened in the past, so that we can be properly guided for the present and into the future. Now, this situation unfolding, we know that the unstated part is the apparent quote-unquote rebellion of a godson against his godfather, which is the governor versus the former governor, James Ibori. That's the governor, Okowa and Ibori. So it's like a test of strength, which is the unstated aspect of it. The governor supports the speaker. His godfather supports David Edevie. So, and now the court has said, David, in line with the electoral, that David Edevie should take up the ticket.
Yeah.
But, you see, what does the law say about identity? How can you present different certificates, bearing different names?
Yeah.
Now, the court has, because the speaker's camp has said this is a court of first instance, that, his supporters should not worry and all of that. But the point is this: it gets more controversial and more embarrassing as it goes higher. Because if you remember, in the case of Bayelsa, the court of first instance, the tribunal, sacked them. The appeal court turned it down.
Yeah.
Then the Supreme Court now delivered the killer punch. Less than 24 hours to his inauguration. So,
if I was on the other ground.
In Delta State now, APC is just waiting in the wings and watching. And the governorship candidate of APC in Delta State, Deputy Speaker of the Deputy Senate President, Oviomo Agege, he's watching keenly. He's not a neophyte in politics. So PDP in Delta State and PDP National had better put their acts together so that they don't, if they really intend to win this 2023 election. Because any mess, any misstep, look, the APC will just coast on to victory so easily.
All right.
I think in this case,
but in politics, nothing happens by accident. Yeah. But if it so does, just know it was planned to happen that way. Are you saying nobody in the PDP in Delta knows
before today? Well, as the Yoruba would say, it is when problem comes that a song that I would normally sing and you enjoy becomes something offensive to you.
Yeah.
Now, in this case, I don't think we should completely blame INEC. The business of INEC is not to I want to believe, not to check, not to do background check and certificate and all that.
That's not its job.
That is not his job. His job is, okay, Party A has submitted this person's name, this is his credentials, is okay, put it there, is the candidate. When the problem now comes, do we blame INEC for accepting it? No, it will fall on the security agencies and other agencies that
maybe the Electoral Offences Commission bill should be passed.
You know, the problem there is that people drop the ball and want to blame others for dropping the ball.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, there's an Emmanuel. Emmanuel is reaching us from Lagos. Good evening, Emmanuel. Welcome. Emmanuel, are you there?
Hello?
Speak up. Hello. Yeah, are you there, Emmanuel? Let's go.
This is Mr. Citizen John. How are you?
I greet you, sir.
Yeah, I greet you too. And good evening, Mr. Emeka and my brother Bolaji. How are you guys doing?
Olayinka.
Yeah. Let me start by comment of Mr. Emeka that he's shocked that he's surprised that the Senate President is shocked about the attack on Kuje prison. That's a very good comment coming from you. In fact, it's a shame that this is happening in Nigeria. You understand? People are not sleeping with even one eye. People can no longer sleep with one eye closed. And it's really very, very sad. The degree of insecurity in Nigeria is alarming. The time, like what one caller said, that
just a minute, Emmanuel.
The time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, and the next best time is now. If nothing is done about this state of insecurity, I'm afraid the country is drifting towards anarchy.
So thank you, Emmanuel, except that we are in Delta, not to say your submission is not, but we are looking at Delta. So the INEC is doing its job.
But there should be an agency.
Like
there must be maybe an Electoral Offences Commission. The bill is before the National Assembly. It should be passed so that it will scrutinize. I know, yes, the Constitution talks about, there is this lacuna about presenting certificates, backing them up with your from CF0001. I know there's still that issue, but the issue should be made clear. The National Assembly should make that issue clear. Since it still intends to amend the Electoral Act, for the sake of the nation, it should clear that area. You see, you can't just claim to have been this or have been this, and then you have different names on different certificates, and which are glaring. The National Assembly itself, in amending the Electoral Act, said that it's only aspirants, fellow aspirants that can challenge the validity of the certificates or qualifications presented by any of them. So now, Edevia has taken up the gauntlet and said, okay, very good, this is my co-aspirant, this is my rival. The papers he presented are questionable. So he has done that. So National Assembly should also clear and make clear offenses, and punishments for this thing. How is this thing to be dealt with? Because, you see, very soon campaigns will start. PDP has held on to that state since 1999. If PDP is desirous of still keeping control of that state, I'll restate it. In 2023, PDP must put his act together. It must put his house in order. It must make sure that this simmering feud between Godfather and Godson is settled. Otherwise, you see, politicians are very funny people. Before you know what's happening, their supporters will begin to look elsewhere.
Emeka seems to have forgotten another statement by Napoleon. He said, if your enemy is committing a mistake, don't interrupt him. So whatever is happening in Delta,
the APC will not talk now.
Or other
parties. If I were to be in their shoes also, I won't talk. Let it go on, because it will play to its own, their own advantage. Yeah. However, as I said earlier, why is it that politicians always have questionable credentials? Look,
don't you recall if a retired DIG at the National Assembly
who said majority of the people in this assembly are people he has interrogated before?
My customers.
Exactly. So, if Emeka is so optimistic that the National Assembly will do something strong in the Electoral Act, I don't think they will. Because this same National Assembly forgot to include themselves.
Did they forget?
As delegates.
Are you sure they forgot?
Well,
are you sure
why did they think back and wanted the president to sign?
Are you sure they forgot?
Gentlemen, we must go. We must go. Let's not the matter there, but let the debate continue. But I have a warning. Politicians, more so in Delta and places like Delta, must remember the Ides of July. July 15 is the D-Day, Abi?
Yeah. Yes.
Remember the Ides of July. I'm done. So let's go to our next story. You know, we are no doubt living in very interesting times. The issue of abortion, for one, has split society along religious and cultural lines for as long as the subject has persisted. Whereas there's no law legalizing abortion in our country, therapeutic abortion is permissible. What's therapeutic abortion? That is when the life of the mental state of the expectant mother is threatened by the presidency, a doctor will prescribe an abortion. Now, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has ordered the suspension of the state guidelines on safe termination of pregnancy for legal indications. The suspension is aimed at enhancing public sensitization and stakeholders' engagement so as to reach a consensus. My problem here is abortion means that somebody who should have been born is gone. In fact, to the women, the decision should be anchored on before the act, not during or after.
Well, the issue of abortion is a very, very strong thing that can divide
or unite.
Even in the United States of America, you remember, I think this same week, or was it last week?
Yeah,
they
upturned Roe versus Wade.
Exactly. So that thing is still going on, where it has been in existence for long, that you can do it. In our own country, it goes on, but under the table.
Yinka, as we did here, somebody don't get abortion.
Of course. It is happening. However, I think what the Lagos State government wanted to do was to make it a situation that will bring it to the fore. It's just like going to the hospital, you have malaria and you are treated openly. But because we are in a society where people wear their religion as slaves, there will be counter arguments. I know in the Catholic fold, it is a no-go area.
Yeah.
Even in other Christian denominations, it's not as if it is a no-go area also. But the issue is, when should abortion be allowed? What level of problem should arise to save the life of the woman and not allow the woman to die and the baby also to die? I mean, so it is going to be a very, very serious debate, and it's good that it's happening in a place like Lagos.
Yeah, but I'm particularly enthralled by the intervention of the governor. Let's go to town. Break it down.
Exactly. Let people debate. Let people talk about it. Let people tell us what they think. In all honesty, that is exactly what should be done. Because when people have their say and everybody comes out to say, no, we want it, we don't want it, everybody lay on the table.
Can you see one of the placards?
Yeah.
No to sex education.
That is the problem. Abortion is not sex education.
They're two different things.
They are two different things. So
But
we begin to confuse.
Connected.
Is connected, but in this case, is connected, but they are not the same thing.
I agree. They are not interchangeable. They are not interchangeable.
They are not. Because when you talk of abortion, is either if, okay, now, what do you say if a legally married woman is pregnant, and after observing all the technical, medical, and whatever, the doctor advised that, sir or ma, is either we take this in a way, or we lose you and lose the baby.
Yeah.
Which one do you take? So you now say that because there is a law against abortion, you won't go ahead? No. So there must be a way to address this issue and also take it away from those who do it under the table. Because a lot of it goes on under the table.
Yeah.
Either in quack hospital or chemist, they mix all those things.
Inka, even as they talk now.
Someone is watching us and doing it.
Emeka, so going to town is good. More like saying, look, let's demystify this thing. Come, talk, and I think it's a good intervention, if you ask me.
It's good, I mean, because I think the Lagos State government is also trying to avoid getting entangled in different suits arising from issues of privacy and women's rights to decide things about their bodies, which is mainly what is propelling this debate.
Are you saying
globally.
the human rightists would root for an abortion law to be in place?
Of course, no, there are groups that will root for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
While religious groups will also justifiably kick against it. Every side will have its own reasons and be able to present very strong arguments in favor of where they stand. But the point is that what serves the society in the long run is what matters. Yeah. Because the issue of abortion is not just about going to take away a child. There are deeper issues than that, because you're talking about a human life. So, I mean, why would you just take a decision on whether a child should be born or not? So these things must be clearly specified. Those who are kicking against it from religious grounds, they are justified because they look at it that this thing is against their religious codes and should not be allowed. While those who are calling for it are saying that women should have a right to privacy, they should have a right to decide what to do with their bodies. Yes. Yeah. But there must be that decision on what serves society best. There are different cases whereby such could arise. You know, certain cases could arise where people could think, okay, a lot of people have put up the issue of rape, for instance.
Yeah, but it provokes the question of, is there any such thing? You know, before we came on, we broached it. Is there any such thing as an unwanted pregnancy?
Yes, there could be an unwanted pregnancy. Yes, I mean, there could be an unwanted pregnancy. I mean, when irresponsible people get minors. Of course, the law says that a minor cannot give consent. But you have a lot of people who get into, who get into these liaisons with minors. Yeah. So that is not about, I mean, what does a minor know about getting pregnant and all of that? That is
a safe period case. And all that.
You even have cases of irresponsible parents who violate their children, who violate children left in their care, minors left in their care. You have cases of people who are mentally challenged, violated by criminals.
So-called mentally stable people.
Well,
Exactly.
there are cases like that out there, because I know there have been, there have been instances where there was outcry that, such and such a lady somewhere, I know there was one around Sabo or so, where a lady or so raised the alarm that this lady was being violated and that government should make efforts, public spirited individuals should make efforts to get this lady into safe custody because her life was in danger. And then you find out again, there are different kinds of challenges in our society today. So how do you now protect women? How do you protect women in cases where they decide that
all right,
a pregnancy should not stay?
There's a time
so
constraint.
that is, we leave it to when the debates, the public hearing.
But Yinka, please, quickly, let's look at the safe period, safe sex and all that. That's a gospel you can take further afield.
Oh, no, that is where the problem lies. Because the holy books, either Quran or Bible, says that there should be no sex outside marriage.
Okay.
So, and that is where the religious people base their argument. That when you tell people or tell teenagers about safe period and all that, you begin to tell them that, look, there are periods where you can do this and then you will be safe. And then, if peradventure he or she miscalculates and it happens, will you call that unwanted pregnancy? So, it's a double-edged sword.
Emeka, he has just told me about what the Bible says. No sex outside marriage.
Yes, of course.
It's
explicitly stated.
we should remind him that King Solomon had.
But that didn't justify it.
Okay,
and that's King Solomon.
Even today,
so
even in his wisdom, he went against biblical injunction.
All right, then we must pack it all in for the evening. Many thanks, Dr. Olayinka Oyegbile. I greet you.
Thank you very much.
Emeka Madonna.
It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, that's it on the program today. If you missed a part of it, join us at 11 later tonight for a late edition. And then, of course, on Sunday, we're on from 1:30 to 3:30, 2 hours. For the third Friday, Jide is missing, but Jide is okay. He should be back in the coming week. Have a pleasant holiday. And we're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.
Following is a paid presentation by ShopX TV. You're watching ShopX TV, home to some of the most popular international brands in Africa, including Papa Chef, MyFit Jeans, Genie Bra, the Power XL Air Fryer, the NutriBullet, and more. We are now proud to bring you the triple deal, including kitchen items to keep you and your family healthy. This amazing collection includes one Power Air Fryer XL, one NutriBullet, and one Papa Chef Wonder Cooker. The amazing Power Air Fryer XL is a one-touch revolutionary kitchen miracle with 7 quick presets that can air fry, roast, bake, and grill in minutes. So say goodbye to oil and hello to healthier living. Our 900-watt NutriBullet with cyclonic action technology pulverizes stems, seeds, nuts, and everything else to give you that smooth taste for your daily recommendations of fruits and vegetables in a fast, simple, and convenient way. And our best-selling Papa Chef Wonder Cooker. It's a non-stick roasting pan, Dutch oven, stock pot, and air crisper. It's the world's first extra-large non-stick multi-cooker that has 14 functions, including baking, steaming, cooking, air frying, grilling, roasting, serving, and so much more. And that's not all. The Papa Chef Wonder Cooker comes with deep roasting pan, shallow roasting pan, crisper tray, tempered glass pan lid, and 2 bonus deep fry baskets. You can get the triple deal for not 400,000 naira, not even 300,000 naira, but just 215,900 naira. Incredible. Call the number on your screen now to get the amazing